I'm your host, Rodney Woods, along with Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick and Jake Nichols. Hey, guys, welcome back. Season number 7. Let's just get right into things.
Let's do it.
Let's throw it to Jake. Jake's got the Southwest Virginia report.
So, guys, I've got 2 teams that I'm really looking at out of there for this year. First up, the Abington Falcons. So they've got a really good running back named Martin Lucas that I'm really looking at for this season. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, over 1,200 yards rushing last season, and he hit a growth spurt in the offseason. Apparently, he was just a sight to see at Media Day, so I'm really looking for him to put up some big numbers for them this year and really lead them on the way to a possible 9 or 10 win season. But another team that we're looking at, the Gate City Blue Devils. Jeremy Houseright entering his first season as their head coach. Their last head coach went 7-24 through the past few seasons, so really looking for a turnaround there. But it should be interesting to see how they do. They've been a prominent team in the Virginia area for quite some time. Only 6 head coaches, including their newest, since 1956. But it'll be interesting to see if they can turn things around this season with Houseright at the helm, considering he went there as a student.
Thanks, Jake. Great. You know, it's good to have Jake on board with us this year. He's going to be covering Southwest Virginia for us and a lot of other things, plus his internet magazine. So, you know, Southwest Virginia, we've never covered them heavy on our show, but now with Jake.
Yeah, because there's a lot of great football there, so excited to hear more about them.
When we come back after this break, Chris Blevins is going to talk to Morristown East head coach Caleb Slover, and I'm going to talk to new Cobb County head coach Scotty Dyke. So make sure you stay right here on Your High School Sports. We're coming right back.
Just look at all those freshly made Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm sure it makes you want 1 or a dozen right now. So come visit our locally owned and operated Krispy Kreme donuts in Pigeon Forge. Our Krispy Kreme donuts are made fresh daily, our service is fast and friendly, and the taste will put a smile on anyone's face. Krispy Kreme is a fundraising favorite, so call us today to help support your school or community fundraising efforts. Our delivery truck is there when you need us. Krispy Kreme Donuts on the Parkway in Pigeon Forge.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. We are your source for football in the Southeast. Chris, you got a chance to catch up with Coach Slover from Morristown East. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I did. I had a great conversation with Coach Slover. He's super excited about this season with Morristown East. I want you to listen to that interview right now. We're back here with Coach Slover, the head coach at Morristown East. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on with us today and spending a little time with us. I know you've got a lot going on. It's a hectic week. Also, your first season back here at Morristown East. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're looking forward to the season.
You know, I spent 6 years over at Tusculum College coaching over there, coaching running backs and wide receivers, and learned a lot under former head coach Frankie DeBusk, and spent the last 6 years over at Cobb County High School in Newport, and really felt like we had brought that program to a much better state than when we got there, a more competitive edge, and a lot of games that we were in that maybe we didn't pull out, but we were in a lot of football games. But, first year here, took the job 4 days, I guess, before spring practice. So, jumped right in to spring practice, did a lot of work over the summer, and now we're here, and so the season's kicking off, and just excited about a lot of things that our kids have accepted and the challenges that we put in front of them. So we're looking forward to see where this season leads us.
Gotcha. Well, we all know that you have a lot of experience like you just described, and we appreciate you being here on Your High School Sports. I know you've worked with us in the past before, and we're glad to have you back here. Tell us a little bit about what your style is going to be here at Morristown East. Are you changing up from when you came from Cobb County to here, or are you sticking to more of your traditional style, or what's kind of going to be your style here at Morristown East?
Yeah, we'll be very similar to what we were. I brought in offensive coordinator Levi Cooper, who spent, I guess, about 10 years at Cosby High School, and spent the last 2 or 3 years at Sevier County High School learning how they do some things. And so brought him in as an offensive coordinator. We're going to look very, very similar. He's obviously brought in and changed some terminology and some things that he wants to do. So kind of turned that over to him, and got Randy Mauser back as our defensive coordinator, changed up our defense just a little bit. We're going to be a little bit more 4-4 cover 3 type team, some different personnel rolling some coverages. So we're going to be very similar to what we've been in the past.
Gotcha. I understand that. And I know you. We don't even have to ask you the question. I know you're going to be looking forward to the Morristown East, Morristown West rivalry. I know that's a big thing here in the community. I know everybody comes out for that game, and I know you'll be looking forward to that. So I'm not even going to ask you a question about that. I'm sure you've been asked that 100 times. But yeah, guys, you're here, Coach Slover here. We appreciate you taking time with us, Coach. We'll be talking to Coach each week to get some information about the previous week and where we're at in the season. And Coach Slover, we appreciate you taking time and talking with us today, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Coach Slover sounds like he's got things headed in the right direction for Morristown East.
He sure does. He's got a little bit of a hectic week this week, like you heard in his voice there, but he's super excited to be at Morristown East. He's ready to get started and get this season kicked off and get his base set up for the next coming season.
Well, I got a chance to catch up with the other coach that's in this district, new head coach at Crockett County High School, Coach Scotty Dykes, teammate of Chris at ETSU. Let's hear what Scotty has to say about his team. I'm on the line now with head coach of Crockett County High School, new head coach, Scotty Dykes. Scotty, welcome back to your high school sports.
Hey, appreciate it, Rodney.
Hey, listen, I know that you went in there, you missed spring practice, but you did get the 2 weeks in June, and now, you guys are back to 7-on-7. Let's talk about where you think the program is right now.
Well, right now, Rodney, I think the program's in probably as far along as we can have it. We, of course, with all the new terminology on offense, defense, and everything we're trying to install, we spent a lot of time learning, obviously, the first couple of weeks and even the first couple of weeks after that period. So we're coming along, progressing pretty well. Hopefully we'll find out how far along come Friday.
Okay. Well, listen, let's talk about, I know when you came in there, you wanted to bring a new upbeat tempo that you've been around at Hardin Valley for years and at Austin East. But have they caught on to what Coach Dykes wants to do?
Yeah, I, for the most part, I think everyone understands you want to run practice at a high level with a lot of intensity. Keep everybody hopping around doing practice. I think everybody's pretty much come to understand what we expect, and if we don't get what we expect, they know the consequences at this point. But I think everyone's grasped that pretty well, and like I said, we're moving along pretty good with that.
Let's talk about you had a starter at quarterback that graduated last year, Jared. But now, who's your quarterback, and what kind of potential has he got to run your offense?
Tyler Venable's going to be the quarterback. He's got a ton of potential. A super good athlete. The type of athlete that probably could turn into a prospect at the next level. Depending on what kind of scheme someone's running, we obviously are thinking about using him on defense some, but the fact that we don't have a backup right now because of some transfer issues and a couple of young guys behind him as freshmen, we had to kind of table that for the time. But he's a super athlete that he just got to be on the field somewhere.
All right, now you open up August 23rd against who?
August 23rd, we go to Campbell County.
Go to Campbell County. So that should be an exciting game. They always have a pretty good team. So, but everything that you're working on, Scotty, we hope that it turns out for Crockett County. I know that your high expectations. I hope they follow you, and I know if they don't, like you said, consequences can be. I can imagine. But we'll come up and visit with you here pretty soon. We've been talking to Coach Scotty Dykes, head coach of Crockett County High School, right here on Your High School Sports. All right, Scotty. Hey, looks like East and Crockett County, they kind of switched. Clover went from Crockett County to East.
Yeah, that might be a good switch when we're not sure they're going to be booing at East or booing at Crockett County, but somebody's going to get it. But might get a standing ovation. We don't know.
You got that right.
It'll be fun to watch.
It'll be a great game. All right, let's go talk to Jake. Jake, set us up on what's going on in the Tri-Cities.
Well, I'm looking at 5 or 6 teams actually, Roddy, primarily. First up, Science Hill. They were 6-6 last season, 4-2 in region play, but they also had 3 very close losses by 3 or less points to eventual very good team. They lost to Maryville in the second round at the end of the season. Obviously not the ending record they wanted for last year, but with 3 of those losses by coming with 3 points or less, it could be a very different story this season for this team. they were very close to 10-2 rather than 6-6. So really look for them to be on the rebound this year. A talented running back in Chris Thomas, but a very young offensive line for this Science Hill Hilltoppers team. Look for them to really rely on Thomas and really rely on their quarterback play as well, and a fairly solid defense as they look to rebound from a mediocre year last year. So moving on, we're going to look a little bit at Dobbins Bennett. They were 4-6 last year, no playoffs, but a big 55-0 win over Sevier County to really highlight the year for them. Joey Christian going into his second year as head coach over there in Kingsport. They scrimmaged against Greenville the other day. Their primary running back looks to be Philip Armitage, but we might see a different story there once the season rolls around. They really look for their defense to be a consistent basis this year. Jet Harris and Braxton Kobaki, very solid on the defensive side for Dobbins Bennett. Really looking for them to be a force, really to hold down what looks to be a questionable offense. They start the season against Tennessee High, always a big game for them, and averaged 23.8 points per game last season. Tennessee High averaged around 34, so look for the Vikings to have the advantage in that early season matchup, but it could still be a very different contest once the season actually rolls around. Moving on now to Elizabethton. They were 10-2 last season, 5-1 in district play, lost to Anderson County in the second round of the 4A playoffs. Shaun Witten entering his 13th year with the Cyclones. Now, obviously, that's a familiar name for many from Elizabethton, but he did flirt with leaving for Sevier County in 2014, stayed around, wanted to stay close to home, and it paid off. 4-6 his first season in 2007, 5-6 his second season in 2008, and all of a sudden, the Fighting Cyclones absolutely skyrocketed, going to 11-3 the year after that, and staying at a consistent 8-9 win basis for the last several seasons. They're consistently in the playoffs. Haven't quite been able to make that state championship push, but we should see a lot from them again this season. So moving on now to Tennessee High. Last season they were 8-4. This 4-2 in region play. They played Daniel Boone and David Crockett to the wire during the season. So a couple of big players for them. Kelvin Coleman, a senior, a big name to watch for them at running back and linebacker. He's very shifty in the open field, but he can also plug gaps when necessary. And at the linebacker spot, he can also drift into coverage. So really look for him to be a stalemate for them this season on both sides of the football, as well as Cole McBrayer. Last season, he had a terrific year, really moving well in the pocket. He can make accurate throws, deep ball, he's got it. He can really be mobile for them on offense, but he also plays a little bit of safety. So really look for those two guys to play well on both sides of the ball for Tennessee High as we get started for this season. Up next, the David Crockett Pioneers. Really looking at them to go to do well again this season. They were 12-1 last year, lost in the quarterfinal to Knox Central, the eventual state champion over there with Coach Rosser. All right, next up, the big one, the state champion from last season, the Greenville Green Devils, 15-0 on the season, 6-0, but they're coming in with a new head coach this year, defensive coordinator Dan Hammonds. Now, he was a part of their 4 previous state championships, but taking over the reins this year, players have said that not a lot has changed and that the expectation is still there for the Green Devils to perform like they have in the past. A lot of losses for Greenville still, as their previous head coach has now resigned after 2 consecutive state championships, but a lot to look forward to again from the Green Devils this year. Roddy, back to you guys.
Thanks, Jake. Let's take another break. Thank our sponsors. When we come back here on Your High School Sports, your source for football in the Southeast, Chris is going to catch up with a Cyclones head coach, Shaun Witten, and Bart Lyons is going to join us with Coach Carter from Science Hill. So stay right here on Your High School Sports. We're coming right back.
The savings don't stop when you get on the lot at Backfield Bernard Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. They just get started. How about saving up to $10,500 on a brand new 2019 GMC Acadia SLT? That's right, up to $10,500. And if you want bigger savings, how about saving up to $13,000 on a brand new 2019 GMC Sierra Crew Cab SLT? Make the short trip to Backfield Bernard Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac right here in Greenville, where, as always, I'm going to save you money.
Hey folks, this is Roddy from My Smoky TV Channel 195, and I'm standing in front of the best place to get a Krispy Kreme donuts, and that's Krispy Kreme donuts right here on the Parkway in Pigeon Forge, and at their second location right down in Sevierville off of Highway 66. Make sure you stop when the hot light's on. It's on from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then at night from 6 to 9. Hey, I love them, so come on by Krispy Kreme Donuts and get you one hot, fresh, and ready. And follow My Smoky TV Channel 195 on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, it's Chris Reddick with your high school sports, and I can already smell it in the air. We're inside now, but it is football time in Tennessee, and we love high school football. And right beside of me, I have one of my favorite coaches. I have head coach of the Elizabethton Cyclones, my school, Coach Shaun Witten. Coach, let's just get right into it. I want to first talk about the CNC Football Factory, and if you want to know what that is, a kind of play off of the CNC Music Factory, an old group back when probably you were little, but the CNC Football Factory I call the Carter and Corey Football Factory. They're gone this year. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about what we got coming back this year and what's new that we may see this year.
Well, we got a lot of young guys. You know, we got 30 ninth graders coming in. We've only got 11 seniors. So a lot of our majority of our football team is juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So we've got a really good class coming in. You know, they've only lost one game in 2 years at the middle school level, and obviously with Ryan at the middle school level, those guys have given us really a chance to come in and given us a lot of depth. But 10-2 a year ago. We didn't end the season the way we wanted to, but, we got off to a great start. We got a home opener win against Johnson City, and then we kind of steamrolled all the way through. We played some games really close and really tight. We had a lot of offensive production last year from a lot of different guys, and then Corey and Carter and Parker and Perkins, and all of those guys are gone, like you said. So a lot of young faces, talented, youthful. Sometimes you're going to get some mistakes with that, but they're very talented. They got great vision. So a lot of different things from last year. Where we spread the football around. This year we've got maybe a handful of guys the ball is going to go to. So we really like those guys. Parker Hughes leads us as a junior receiver. Zach Hartley's our senior receiver. We got Bryson Rollins, running back, quarterback. We got Cade Moppin that comes to us from Kingsport that brings some experience to us as a senior. We got Deuce Morton as a junior running back, LaDarian Avery as a junior running back. So, we like those guys that we have into skill positions.
Well, let's. You just mentioned a few names there. Let's talk about quarterback. I know you've got Cade Moppin coming in. Is he going to be possibly playing a little quarterback, or are you going to use him in versatile positions?
Well, it's a little bit unknown still. It's real, before we got to the scrimmages, we still don't know who can do what at what positions. A lot of times with the young guys, you still don't know how they're going to react. So I think that over the next couple of weeks, we'll figure it out. It's whether if Bryson's at quarterback, Moppin's at running back, Moppin's at quarterback, Bryson's running back. So we like with that, but you definitely got to make a decision on one, especially when you go in August 23rd against Johnson City. Both of them do a lot of the same things. The offense doesn't have to change a lot when both of them are at the helm. It's just kind of who kind of grabs the offense and kind of takes it, and kind of leads us there. We got a lot of great guys up front that have really worked to develop our line of scrimmage play. But at the quarterback position, we got a handful of guys. Jackson Holly's a senior. He's also a kicker. He's been around, knows a lot of the plays, knows a lot of the terminology. So he's a guy that can get in the mix too. So we like the guys that with the fact that they're dual threat guys. They're not like Carter. They're more like Corey's. So we're going to make some plays with their feet. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to they're going to have to be able to make some throws. When you play good people and like we are, you got to get ready for Johnson City. At some point in time, you're going to have to make the throws.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Johnson City, you got the little nemesis off your back for the last year. I believe you almost went a decade, I guess, with not beating them. Since you did get that big win this year, I'm sure nothing's changed. It's going to be the same thing. Signed, sealed, don't matter what records are. It's always a battle. So just talk a little bit about going into that game.
We've come close over the last decade, and we've had some great games, double overtimes, stopped us on a 1 yard line one time. Last year, it went to almost 164 total plays at the week opening game. But, we know that, we were able to kind of kind of knock it off last year. We forced some turnovers early to kind of get us a 17-point cushion, but we know that they're talented. Obviously, the running back Chris Thomas is extremely talented. They got some weapons, and obviously every time you step on the field, Johnson City, they're bigger, faster, stronger than you are. We just got to kind of withstand the storm and be the stronger team at the end of the game. But we know, there's a sense of urgency when you're Elizabethton and you play those guys' first game. You can't waste a day. Every day's got to be accounted for. But it's exciting. It's going to be the game of the East Tennessee. There's no more Kingsport Greenville first game. It's Johnson City and Elizabethton, and it's going to be ready to go.
All eyes will be on that game, first game of the season. Let's talk on the other side of the ball, defense. What do you got coming back this year on defense?
Well, the most improved thing we've got to improve is our linebacker play. Our linebacker play wasn't where it needed to be, from the first game to the last game. Consistency on defense. We lost Jared Grindstaff inside. Joseph Kecker comes back and anchors us there. We've got most of our defensive ends back. Zach Hartley, Alex Conley. We moved Carson Stresson from Mike linebacker to defensive end. He's as strong, as powerful as they are. That's going to really help us set the edge. And we like our linebackers now. We're older. We've seen it. We've been there. At times we didn't make the plays, but we're more confident stepping on the field. Jordan Haynes leads us as a senior linebacker. Deuce Morton Jr., Remington Tyree is going to get some reps over there, and then we got sophomore Blake Stewart. So, we like our bodies a whole lot better, and we're a year older there. And so, defensively, we're a fast defense. We really got to set the edge and really get the ball back inside, and we got to, really play with a lot of effort.
Well, there you have it. The breakdown, the preseason breakdown here from Coach Shaun Witten. Coach Shaun, we appreciate everything you do for the team and for the community, and we want to always say good luck to you. And guess what? It is football time, so we'll be kicking off. And if you want to catch Coach Shaun Witten and Elizabethton Cyclones, like I said, all eyes are usually on that key game, Science Hill and Elizabethton. They're going to be playing at Science Hill this year, so be sure to check that out. And in the meantime, keep watching your high school sports.
I'll tell you what, you don't have to look far to get savings right here at Bachman Bernard Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Greenville. Save up to $10,000 on a brand new 2019 Buick Encore. Save up to $10,500 on a brand new 2019 Buick Enclave. And I'll tell you what, how about saving up to $12,000 on a brand new 2019 Buick LaCrosse? Up to $12,000. Make the short trip to Bachman Bernard Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac right here in Greenville, where as always, I'm going to save you money.
Joined here with Coach Stacy Carter. And Coach Carter, new season. You got a lot of returning weapons on offense. Let's talk about that offensive backfield and some of those wide receivers we should be looking for this season.
We're excited about those guys. We have Solomon Dunn that is just, come on, probably like none of us ever thought. He is really coming his own as a player, and big, long, tall kid that can play. Marquise, I think one of the best slot receivers around, and quick as a cat and playing good. We've got Santiago, which is a great corner, but can come in there and do great stuff. There's just so many weapons. Amari Red, you got Torbett that comes in there and is doing special things for us too. So, it's just a loaded bunch of receivers that can do a whole lot of stuff for us, and you just feel very fortunate because we're deep there too. Because if one goes down, you can put another one in, and I just think they're going to be good. I really do. I think that they can do it all, and it can run with anybody. I think we saw in those 7-on-7s they can run with anybody around.
New quarterback this season. Let's talk about the transfer from Miami, Florida.
Love him, great kid, good team player. He's all about the team. Got some great skills. The thing we have to get is the experience. He's going to have that experience. Just got to have it. But, he gets the ball out about as quick as I've had anybody get it out of their hand. Throwing bubbles and hitches and stuff that we scrimmaged. We didn't do a lot last night, but that's what he does best. He really gets it out of his hands quick. And I just think he's going to really shred people up. He's going to be able, and it's going to open it up for Chris to run the football and Malik. And Malik is slimmed down, looks better than he ever has. So those two backs are going to be something to deal with.
Defensively, what should we expect out of the Hilltopper defense? I know Coach Ralph Nelson has always had a pretty solid defense. What should we expect out of them this year?
Well, some returning front guys that are older, and then some young young linebackers that are very talented is what you're going to see. And the first one jumped out. I mean, Sutton is going to be a tremendous linebacker. I mean, he's got natural skills. He can play, and so does Kate Fleeman.
Yes, he does.
And they're young. And then the old Malik has come in there into his own, and he is a wild man in there, a middle linebacker. Sometimes he runs out of the plays, but he is physical, and I think he's going to be very good. And of course, we're going to have to rest him some to run the ball too. But he's good in there too. So those linebackers and that front with Jaden Miles in there,
that's right.
and you see the big Jaden, and then we got Ian McKinney. That's a big transfer. Then you got Jack Conkin that he's got all-conference player, and he hadn't played yet. He's got mono right now. But then Alec Hillman on the end. Corbin Gerard's playing very good for us. Again, it was some youth there, but some talent. And then you have another candidate out there at Sam linebacker.
That's always good.
That is exactly like the other one, but faster. He is fast and strong. And of course, the safeties. As soon as we get Nick back, we want him back. And got a good transfer from Wisconsin. And Braden Anderson is a very physical kid, and we saw that last night out of him. And Maury Reds, he's got to be on the football field, in I think offensively and defensively. And some things, he's a big, tall, good-looking kid with a lot of upside. I think he's just now getting into him. Kind of like Solomon. He is going to be something special too. So playing there at safety, and then we got little A.J. Martin playing at cornerback, one of the toughest kids that I've been around. He's a sophomore youth, but got him at the corner, and then Josh, which I think Josh is. He's the best cornerback around. I believe he's the best cornerback in our league. He's got natural skills, so I feel good about that side of ball. I guess anything I want to talk about probably is the youth on the offensive line. We know that, which is great. Thing that we got a good running back and a good quarterback that can get it out of his hand, but got some great kids. But we were maybe starting a freshman. Maybe even in a scrimmage we were starting 2 freshmen because we had some guys hurt. But some sophomores, young guys, they're going to have to get experience. They're big, strong. You got LeBron Riddle, got Kellen Hensley in there, Corbin Gerard, guys that can play. Joseph Couture. They're young and talented, good feet. But the one thing they haven't got yet, and that's game experience. And they need that, and that's something that's going to come with time. We can try to simulate it in practice, but it's hard to get to. So we're going to take a little lumps there at first till we get it, and when we get it, we'll be fine.
Well, I know under your direction they'll be coached up and they'll be ready to go. Coach Carter, thanks for joining us for your high school sports. Bart Line from Kermit-Tipton Stadium.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I really thank you, Chris and Bart. Great interviews. You know something? That is actually our game of the week here on Your High School Sports. And I'm going to get my 2 buddies here to do a pick.
Go ahead, Chris. What you got?
If you already know me being from Elizabethton, you know who I always pick. But this year, I'm going with Elizabeth, just like What about you?
And you watched the show a little earlier today. Jake talked a little about Science Hill and coming back out of the thing. I think Science Hill goes 10-2 this year. I think Science Hill.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this week's Your High School Sports. For Jake Nichols, for Chris Blevins, and Chris Reddick, I'm Roddy Woods, and we'll see you next week right here on Your High School Sports.